Hi, good morning. Welcome to the YouTube channel. My name is Cliff, and our YouTube channel name, of course, is One on One Candid Conversations blog. Our YouTube site is One on One Candid uh, Actually, our YouTube blog is at One on One Candid Conversations.blogspot.com. And today I figured I would share some ideas as to what is going to be going on in the next little while. The idea here is to tell you what we're going to be doing in the short term as far as activities on the blog, and also here on the channel. So as far as the blog goes, there's probably going to be some minor changes made. There was one thing I was doing was that incorporated visiting websites and cool places on the internet. I think that's going to get scrapped as well. I think we're just going to leave it to commentary and interviews, written ones. I just sent off a written request to Vinod Ravisankar, hope I'm pronouncing the name right, of YNX Studios. And we're going to be talking with him about a video game that he's produced. It's actually for the Android devices, and it's basically a really cool way to teach kids mathematics. So that's going to be coming up hopefully very soon. I would have that on the blog. On the interview side, here I haven't really found anything yet, but eventually I will probably get some things going on. But certainly comments wise, there's a lot to talk about. Recently, a good friend of mine was released from his company, no name mentioned. I'm not going to do that to him because I don't want to out him really, but this would be something for anybody really to think about, and that is shutterbugging at your work site. And I think I'm going to comment on that in a video comment here on the site. And I might also do this on our other program, which is Tales from the Cube. I'll explain Tales from the Cube in a few moments, but I think I'd like to basically talk about photographing in your workplace, but in particular also in general, it might be a good idea to talk about where you can and cannot photograph. There are definitely laws on the books regarding this. This is something that you want to definitely be aware of because, after all, um, the the idea of taking pictures is cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking pictures when you're outside of places and whatnot. For example, I've been going to see my spouse who's in the hospital, and it would be kind of cool to take a picture in the in the room or on the floor where she's at, or on the hospital grounds. But really, when I think about that, is it legal to do it? It's a very gray area. There's a lot of topical discussion on this, so I'm hoping I can get some information that is relevant, current, and also makes sense because, let's face it, cell phones today have the ability to take photos and videos, and what is and what is not really a wise thing to do as far as taking photographs, but a particularly place that this is really a question, of course, is in the workplace. Um, what do you want to do with respect to that? How do you want to handle that? Um, the company I work for has very defined rules. You cannot even have a device on the floor, much less take a photograph. So it's a very, very strict environment. We do this for various reasons, particularly security and compliance, but other places do it for prevention of loss of proprietary information to make sure that employees don't do that. So that's a topic I'm going to really jump into. I have also thought of doing something with respect to Donald Trump and his indictments. Um, though that one's going to be a little tricky because it's more political than anything else, and I want to kind of avoid that. Um, I want to talk about probably how to avoid a strike here on YouTube. I think that's an important topic to discuss. How to make sure you don't get that happening. I got one, and it was a warning, thankfully, this time around. But it's something to think about. What do you want to do to avoid getting a strike, particularly for a video that you've put up? You think is great, but the curators look at it and they go, no, it violates our terms. So I'm going to try and basically put something like that together. Um, As far as interviews go, I am really going to have to search around. Sometimes what happens when you're doing these kinds of things is the mind goes a little hazy. You kind of get to a point like, okay, what's the next big idea? Who do I want to talk to? Um, and that is something that I think uh, needs a real think on this. Like, okay, what do I want to? Who do I want to talk to next? Who do I want to? Who do I want to engage with? How do I want to engage with them? So it's important to basically come up with good content, and I want to make sure that all of the people who have subscribed to this channel get a good vibe from it, learn something from it, and also come back and share the videos and bring this thing a little bit further along. And that's the goal here is to really get this particular blog, um, if you will, it's a vlog, if you will, really rolling. And we're connected with the written blog, one-on-one candid conversations blogspot.com. But eventually I'm probably going to even separate this and make this a totally different channel. um, it might be something else, or it might just continue to be, and I think it's probably going to be the latter, the candid conversations video log, um, which is really what this is about. It's the video side of the written side of the blog. The other thing, of course, is my podcast. I want to talk about that a little bit. Tales from the Cube is on Anchor. It's on various other channels, including Spotify, Google Play, or Google Podcasts, I should say. Even Amazon Music features it. It's now on TuneIn, so that's pretty cool. Only a couple of episodes in now. We're at 9. We're going to do 10, and I'm going to run an ad for it. So hopefully we'll get more people listening. What is the Tales from the Tube, from the Cube rather, Tales from the Cube all about? It is about call centers, and I work in a call center. I've been doing it for a long time now, since 1996, off and on. So essentially, I've accumulated anywhere from 15 to 20 years plus experience working in the industry. And what this blog details is what it's like. Some of the subject matter that I touch include things like the terminology, work from home questions. I will say, for one thing, and I'm going to sort of throw in a little bit of a shot here at our company. They didn't do it well. The return to work back was a monster disaster. It was not flexible. It was uh, very, very disruptive to a lot of people who wanted to stay at home. And I think that it made a mess. And there's been some interesting things. And I'm actually going to be talking about that in an episode of Tales from the Cube, not directly about my company, but in general, when companies dig in their heels and say, no, we're doing this, and how in today's world, that's really not a smart move. It's not at all. Working is changing. How we work, the way we work is changing. And a lot of these people who are in the upper management teams are just not getting it. They're not understanding that you have to change with the times, whether you like to or not. And eventually you'll get dragged into this kicking and screaming, but you will get dragged into it. So you might as well just do it now and learn to be flexible with the possibility of a 4-day work week, or, the idea of work at home advisors, increasing the level of those and whatnot. But that's going to be put out podcast. So I'm not going to talk much more about it, but I am going to basically jump in there and I'm going to say that, from my experience, I was in the site for the whole pandemic for the most part. I did do some work at home. I was, for the most part, on our site. It worked out well for me, but seeing what happened when change was made and it wasn't properly implemented, or was more or less just, you're doing this, and like it, how that has really changed our floor. For what it's worth, I'm going to say it's not good. But eventually, hopefully, we will find a middle way, and I think companies need to learn to do that. So I'm going to talk about that all in the podcast. I might put that together today or tomorrow, and we'll put Tales from the Cube, a new episode number 10, by the way, which will be actually episode 6 or 7, actually 7 for this season, on the air, and I think you'll find it interesting. Um, outside of that, I really want to thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel. It's great to see the number of people that are in there subscribed. There's no comments on the videos at the moment. That's okay. I'm good with that. But I see that people are watching videos. I see that the channel is growing a little bit, and I'm hoping that we'll get more and more growth in the next little while. I do use different tactics to get that. Um, Particularly, I want to say that one of the best ones that I'm using right now is VFly, and VFly is really, really good. Great uh, job working with Google. They are a partner with Google, so we know that for this particular venue of gaining access to people who want to subscribe is a good one because it's legit. You're doing things that are not going to violate the TOS here on YouTube, and that's the whole goal. We don't want that to happen. So we have a good partner in them, and I think that the fact that they make sure that they're working well with Google and YouTube and so on is a very, very big plus. So kudos to VFly for helping me get subscribers, and thank you very much for you being here as a subscriber. It really means a lot to me, and I hope that you'll pass on the site to friends and look for our other sources, of course, the Tales from the Cube and also our blog. And feel free to send me an email at candidconversations@hotmail.com. Ask me some questions, suggest some interviews, even have yourself interviewed. You're welcome to do that. That's what this whole thing is about. So, with that, I'm going to end the stream here. I hope that everybody has a really good rest of the weekend. And thank you very much for taking a look at our live stream. And of course, this will be up as a regular video and in short order. Take care. Have yourselves a really great rest of the day and weekend.